What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to give you guys pretty much my first hand thoughts and pretty much my first review of the first day of the open beta for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Giving you guys some of the good things, some of the bad things, some of the pros and cons, and pretty much some of the things that just annoy me, or just things that in general could use a little bit of work. So hopefully you guys do enjoy the video. If you guys do, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new as well. I'll be streaming this game probably on either Twitch or the channel that you guys are watching this video on at some point tonight, all night most likely. So if you guys want to catch me live, you guys can do so. The links will be down in the description. Also, guys, just keep in mind that this is only the beta for Modern Warfare, so this isn't the full game. This isn't the full release, I should say, so we don't get to use all the weapons, we don't get all the perks, we don't get all the maps, all the kill streaks, all that. We only get a small percentage of what the actual real game is going to be, and there are some things in the video that I'll probably talk about whether or not they're good or bad that do have a chance of being changed when the actual full game does release. Alright guys, so I think I want to start off with the pros first, just because I do think I'll probably talk about the cons a little bit more than the pros. And also guys, just keep in mind that this is my video, and it's my opinion, so some people may agree with it, and some people may not agree with it. So, starting off first, I want to talk about the recoil on all the weapons in the game. If I can think previously to any other Call of Duty specifically that had maybe more than like 4 to 5 weapons that had like a skill gap, I guess you can say, for that specific weapon in terms of it having like a really odd recoil pattern and just having a lot of recoil in general. I don't really think there's ever been a Call of Duty like this one that pretty much has every single weapon in the game that has a ton of recoil. That's before obviously you add any attachments on the gun, but I just wanted to quickly talk about this because I personally do think it adds a skill gap, which for me personally, I guess I could like call myself a sweaty player, I guess, since I've been playing for a long time, and I do use a scuff and I have a headset, so obviously I guess you can put me in the category of sweaty players. But for me, I think it does add a skill gap because you have to technically like master a recoil pattern for a specific weapon, kind of like Counter-Strike or PUBG or I guess like Fortnite, anything pretty much. Every single game, every single gun in the game right now in the beta has a fair amount of recoil, unless you're using like a shotgun or sniper. It doesn't really matter, but in terms of like assault rifles and SMGs and LMGs, pretty much every single one of those weapons in that category has a fair amount of recoil. It's not like you're just lasering people like an ACR or something like that on Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3. You're definitely not going to get that no matter what weapon you use. And also, obviously with the new recoil patterns, this year is pretty much like a revamped, I guess, game engine or whatever you want to call it. So the game sounds in this game are super crispy. They sound really realistic, especially your footsteps. If you guys have a headset, even if you use the sound from like a TV or a monitor or something, you can definitely tell that the footsteps and just like the sounds that it makes when you're like running on like a tin building or like on a wood or jumping on something, it makes a really realistic sound. Not saying that previously Call of Duty's didn't do that, but this game, it just sounds a little bit more realistic. Now I know I'm going to get roasted for just bringing this specific game into the video, but I do think it is kind of important, and I think this game is very similar to Call of Duty Ghosts. Now obviously Call of Duty Ghosts was a game that was made in 2014, I think. Yeah, 2014 the game was made. That was personally my favorite Call of Duty up to date. No other Call of Duty's been as fun as that one for me. And I just think like the color schemes of Call of Duty Ghosts and Modern Warfare are similar, as well as like sort of the gun mechanics, the way like some guns did have a little bit of recoil, like the Honey Badger and a couple other guns. And the hit detection is super good, just like Call of Duty Ghosts was. And some of the maps even play like Call of Duty Ghosts 2 in my opinion. And since we are kind of talking about movement, I know a lot of people were not really a fan of like the updated like realism movement system in Modern Warfare. I can tell you guys I wasn't really a fan of it either. I did get to play this game a little bit early, probably like earlier than probably like 95 to 96% of the players that are playing the beta right now. And that's the reason, or the reason for that was because I was at Call of Duty Champs this year for the CWL, and they had like 30 booths that you could sit down and play against each other in the 2v2 mode. You didn't really get to play a whole lot because the games didn't last very long, but you got an idea of what the movement was like in the game, how it worked, like the new weapon mechanics and being able to look at how you mod your weapons and stuff like that. So from an overall consensus of that game to the game that we're playing right now, it is pretty much the same in my opinion, at least for me. And I wasn't a fan of the movement back then in only the 2v2 mode because you didn't get to move that much and the maps were obviously really small for 2v2, but now that we're actually playing like full-fledged, you know, like 10v10, 6v6 actual multiplayer experience on the beta, I definitely have changed my mind, and the movement definitely seems super like realistic and fluid and consistent. It's not flunky and awkward and weird and stupid like a lot of people are explaining that got to play the game even earlier than I did, when a lot of people didn't really know what the game even looked like. And lastly, just a couple small things that I did want to throw in there for the pros. Spawns, in terms of spawns, they're pretty much normal, just like every other Call of Duty. One of the only really small nitpicky things that I have right now, this is just for me personally, some people might not have any idea of what I'm talking about or trying to explain. In all the other modes, the spawns are okay, they're perfect, they're fine, just like normal Call of Duty, but for some odd reason, in Team Deathmatch and only like 2 of the 3 maps, excluding the one with the cave, everyone knows that you spawn in, like when the game starts, a little bit differently than previous Call of Duties. Before, you just be on each side of the map, already on the actual map. And in this game, you have like different methods of spawning into the game when the game actually loads up. So sometimes you get dropped off from a helicopter, and then sometimes you get dropped off from like a back of a Hummer or a pickup or something like that. And I don't know if I'm just blasted or if I'm crazy or if I'm actually like legit just crazy, but it does seem like in TDM sometimes that one team like gets like a advantage in terms of the spawn, like how far they go, because there is sometimes where I feel like I'm like in the middle of the map and some of these people on the other team are just walking out of their spawn, and I literally kill their whole team, and then the spawns flip and I pretty much get my entire team killed because they just get shot in the back when they're waiting for them to run up there. But in reality, I got to the middle of the map before everyone else and they had the same class as me. I don't know, I could be crazy. Also, the 10v10 modes, I was really sketched out about this, about like some of the same maps that you play 10v10 on rather than 6v6. But the modes did actually play out pretty well. They are super good pace in terms of the 10v10 modes. Nothing really negative to say about those. I actually have a lot of fun, and I get a lot more kills than I do in 6v6. I'm also a really big fan of the weapon customization system in the game. That being like being able to mod your own weapons with a bunch of different attachments that do a bunch of different things. And pretty much what I mean by this is, in this game, you can create like a bunch of different variants of the same weapon. So for me right now, I use the M4A1 pretty much exclusively. That's really the only gun that I use right now in the beta, until they do obviously raise the level cap. But on the M4, you can pretty much mod it to where you want like all ADS speed, where you literally just run around the corner cracked out and pretty much pre-aim and win every gunfight against everyone, because they're not going to be able to aim in as fast as you, which means that they're not going to have as fast reaction time as you either, unless they just like pre-fire you or something. But you can pretty much mod your weapon for full ADS, just cracked out speed and movement, or you can pretty much mod your weapons where it has like a lot less recoil than most people have, and maybe put on like a 2x zoom or maybe a holographic, and you just in general have a lot more accuracy than other people. And then obviously you can make some more stealthy classes where you put like a suppressor with a short barrel on it and an extended mag or something like that. But you guys get the idea, and I'm a super big fan of the weapon customization, and it pretty much makes for everyone using almost a different class every single time you get killed by someone. Very rarely will you probably get killed by someone that has the exact same loadout as you in terms of weapons. And then lastly, probably the best thing from the previous Call of Duties that we've had in like the 3 or 4 years in a row now, we have no more specialists. So that means you're not going to be getting killed by Tempest, you're not going to be getting grab spiked off of a 29 kill streak, or maybe one off a chopper or something like that. You're not going to get shocked by a stupid drone. No one's going to be grappling 500 feet in the air. And you're just not going to be getting like really lame deaths like you did previously. Obviously, there's still like trip mines and claymores and stuff like that, but in terms of previous Call of Duties compared to this year, you're definitely not going to be getting killed by super lame stuff like specialist or the specialist abilities. So moving on to the cons, I'm just going to straight up say probably the most negative thing in the beta as of right now is the fact that Modern Warfare has no minimap, no radar at all in multiplayer. The only way that you can get a minimap in multiplayer in a game is if you get a UAV, which is a 3 kill streak with hardline, 4 kills in a row without hardline, or if you get the personal UAV or the personal radar, which is 3 kills without hardline and 2 kills in a row with hardline, which isn't really that bad. But the point of having no radar is to make the game like more tactical and kind of change everyone's playstyle in a positive manner or aspect. But in reality, really all it did is create a little bit more campy playstyle. I shouldn't say that everyone camps, because I just still run out and just die over and over and over again, and I don't care, because obviously I'm not going to sit in a house and just lay down. But I think the main thing that this pretty much does as a result of people thinking what it was going to do is it makes people more campy, and it promotes this really, really weird play style where people just like sit on really, really weird like head glitches and really weird boxes and just lay down in really, really awkward and weird places that they wouldn't really normally ever do, or lay down in or crouch by if there was a minimap. I know it sounds really strange, but for some reason this game during the beta in the first day and a half that I've played so far, and I probably have a solid 7 or 8 hours of gameplay already, I've just had these really weird encounters against other people, no matter what the mode is, where they're just laying down in a really, really awkward position that I would never look or even think of looking at or looking down at or up at. I mean, I guess I'll give them props for that, but I would never do that personally, in my opinion, for me as a player. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to end up adding a radar, so it's probably not going to end up mattering at the end of the day. But the radar, or the no mini-map in the game, is definitely the most controversial and most talked about thing as a negative aspect of the game as of right now. Moving on to the kill streaks, let's talk about the kill streaks a little bit. We don't really get a whole wide variety of streaks. We get the UAV, the personal UAV, which are the very first 2 streaks that you unlock. And then also you can get the rocket. I'm not 100% sure what it's called. It's pretty much like a Trinity rocket from other previous Call of Duties. And then you get a chopper gunner. And I'm not sure if you could even pick any other kill streaks other than that, because we're only able to get to level 10 right now. But the chopper gunner is okay. I've gotten about 7 or 8 of them. I actually got 2 of them in one game. The first one that I ever got in the entirety of the beta got shot down by 2 players on the enemy team within like 30 to 40 seconds of me calling it in. So I did get a couple kills with it, but I did get shot down. And the second one only got about 2 or 3 kills because I got it on the map that has the huge cave. And everyone knows they came to the cave, and it's probably not the best map to use the chopper gunner on. But overall, it's a pretty decent streak. It's definitely not the best chopper gunner out of all the chopper gunners we've ever had in all the Call of Duties, that's for sure. But it is worth the, I guess, like 9 or 10 kills it takes to get if you're using hardline. So I'm not going to cry and bitch about that streak too much, because I do think it is a pretty decent streak. Really, the only kill streak that I have to say that is pretty weak or lackluster is probably that rocket. But then again, at the end of the day, it is a 4 kill streak. As 5 kills with hardline, or without hardline, so 4 kills with hardline. Really, the only negative aspect of that streak is that it takes forever. And if you guys have used them a lot or got killed by them a lot, you guys know that once you hear the enemy rocket incoming, you have like at least a good 3 to 4 seconds to run inside of a building, or just sit inside a building if you're already inside one, because it takes forever to go through the animation of the computer flipping open, and then the rocket animation actually showing up on your screen when you're in the computer, and then the casing inside the shell exploding off of it, and then you get to start controlling it and speeding it up and finding someone to shoot it at. So I guess that's really the only negative aspect of that. Also, moving on to just like the regular 5v5 modes, right now in the beta you don't get to really choose the modes you play. It's just a combination of like a regular 6v6 TDM, a 6v6 domination, a 6v6 headquarters, I believe, and then the 10v10 domination and 10v10 TDM. I don't know if there's 10v10 TDM, but I'm pretty sure there's 10v10 dom for sure. The regular TDM for 6v6 seems super slow. If I play by myself, it's kind of okay. I can get like maybe 20 kills and it feels like I'm frying. But if you're playing like 3 or 4 people in TDM, it only goes to 75 kills, and you'll be lucky if you get like maybe 10 to 15 kills each, just because the game's obviously a lot more slow paced than normally for this year's Call of Duty, and the fact that it only goes to 75 kills again, which I don't know why they don't just make it to 100 kills off the bat. I really don't understand. And lastly, moving on to some smaller things that I came across while playing the game. I'll be the one to say it right now. I'm probably like part of a minuscule population that doesn't really like this, which is the double sprinting mechanic system in the game. I'm not really a fan of it, and the reason why I'm not a fan of the double sprinting system that they implemented in the game is because I find myself a lot of times getting on like these like tunnel vision sort of streaks where I just double sprint everywhere no matter where I'm going, if it's inside a building or going around a corner. And there's these really weird timings when someone is around those corners, or walking into a doorway when I'm walking out, or walking into a doorway, and I'm double sprinting, not regular sprinting, but double sprinting. And there's these really weird engagements against people on a one-on-one engagement where I like can't get out of the double sprinting mechanic fast enough, to be able to win the gunfight, rather where other Call of Duties I could just regularly like get right back into my ADSing from a standpoint of just 1v1ing the person normally and being able to finish off the gunfight, whether or not he gets me super one shot or if I just absolutely destroy the person. It sounds really weird to like talk about and explain in a video, but if you guys know what I'm talking about, you guys know exactly like how it feels to just have that situation happen so many times. I would just flat out rather have like a marathon perk or some form of a perk that just makes you go faster, run faster, and move faster than everyone else, whether it's like agility or marathon pro or something on your weapons in general that makes you go faster. Something. I'm just not really a fan of the double running movement. Also, I don't ever use leaning in the game. Maybe it's because I don't play Rainbow Six or I don't play a lot of tactical FPS shooters in general. I don't know. I never really used the lean either in Ghost. The only thing that I used lean for in Ghost was to lean like on a ledge and just spawn trap people ADSing. That's the only thing that I use it for. I'm not like the type of player on PUBG where you just lean back and forth, or on Rainbow Six Siege where you just lean back and forth like a little freaking hedgehog and just peek and re-peek and peek and re-peek and just fry people off head glitches. I don't play with that, so I just don't really ever use the leaning mechanic in the game, especially since you have to punch your analog in to activate it, which is really odd. I'm used to, if I did use it on Ghost, you just walk up to a ledge or walk up to a door, and it would just automatically lean. The last three things that I'm going to talk about are just little, small, nitpicky things that I figured out and found while playing the game. One of the three are the loud-ass doors. I think it's a really cool aspect that they add to the game for sure. Like, I like being able to just run into a door and open it, or like slowly walk up to the door and like sort of like creep into the door with my gun barrel and just destroy someone. That'd be really useful in like search and destroy. But it is really, really annoying where like my elbow like just barely touches the edge of the door, and frickin' Brock Lesnar just like flies through the door and breaks open the door, and it makes a loud ass sound, when it was actually me in general in the game that was the one that accidentally opened the door because I walked by it or like nudged it or made just a little bit of movement by the door for it to freaking make it fly open. And then I end up turning around to see if it's someone on my team or if it's an enemy running through the door. In reality, it was me. I end up turning around to see, and I get shot in the back. It's just a little small thing like that, and they're really, really loud. I think they need to tone down the sound that it makes when you open a door because it's extremely, extremely loud. Don't know if they intended on the doors opening being that loud just to like add realism, but it is a little bit annoying. They can dim it down just a tad. Also, I haven't sniped that much or used that many sniper scopes on weapons this game that much, but when I did pick up a sniper from someone that I killed, for some odd reason, the sniper crosshairs are really thin, like Counter-Strike thin. Like, if you're looking at someone like in a darkish alley or like a map that's not super bright, and for those of you guys that don't know, I play all of my Call of Duties on like really, really dark settings so that I can like improve, I guess, like the graphics a little bit, and it just helps me. I don't know why. I've always played Call of Duty like on really, really low like lighting settings for some reason. But overall, just the sniper crosshairs seem really, really thin, and I think they need a little bit of work in my opinion. And then lastly, I guess kind of building on what I just talked about. Obviously, this is kind of my fault because, like I said, I play every single Call of Duty like on a really, really, really low light setting. And there's like these really weird buildings in certain aspects of the map where the building is insanely dark, like really, really dark. There's a ton of lighting like going around the building, on top of the building, to the left, right, up and down. But for some reason, if there's an opening in that building and there's someone sitting right in front of that doorway, I legit will not see that person just because that corner or that percentage, that's very small percentage of that building that they're in is incredibly dark for no reason. But that is going to about do it for the video. Just keep in mind though that this is the very first time like released to the public that Modern Warfare has ever been able to be played by just the general public, everyone that's pre-ordered the game. Obviously only on PlayStation 4 right now, but this is the first time everyone's been able to play it, so there's going to be a lot of things that need to be changed. Obviously, probably even going into the next weekend for the, I believe, open beta, so if you have Xbox One or if you play on PC, as well as PlayStation 4, and I'm pretty sure crossplay is going to be enabled as well for that weekend. Everyone will be able to play the game and test it if they want to for free. I don't believe you have to pre-order the game, but this is only the first week, so a lot of things are going to be changed. And probably going into next week, like I just said, I'm sure a lot of things will be changed. A lot of things will be added, implemented, tweaked. There's going to be things that are going to be changed in every single week that goes by up until the release of the game. I'm just really, really, really hoping that they do decide to add back the minimap. upon full release of the game. I don't personally believe they're going to add a mini-map back in any of the betas. Maybe the very last weekend or maybe the last day of the beta, just to, you know, give people an idea of what it'd be like again. But yeah, that's going to be it for the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, make sure you guys drop a like and a subscribe channel if you guys are new. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be live after this video goes up on the channel. Hope to see you guys there. Peace out.